Hi, it's Dr. Burgess here, and this is Getting Prepared for Sixth Form, and this is part 2, Organisation, Tips and Skills. So what I'm going to look at today is how you plan your day. So when you're at school, how you can keep yourself organised day to day, and also talk a bit about your own workspace, particularly your own workspace at home. So just a quick reminder in terms of getting more from your day, remember that the sixth form is open quite early, so from 7 a.m. and there's usually members of staff there at that time, and it closes late, so usually again around about 6 p.m. so you can plan your day fully to get the most work done. When you join us in September, you'll all get a student planner. Now, the student planner is a very useful piece of kit. It has lots of information. It has a weekly planner. It has to-do lists in it as well, and also vital information, for example, university or apprentice study in the future. Okay, so let's talk about your general day and how you can manage yourself to try and be as effective as possible. So the first thing is using to-do lists. Okay, so simple lists of things you need to get done on a particular day. You could do that in your planner, you could do it on a piece of paper, or if you have a computer or a smartphone, you could use an app to help you do that. It's a great feeling of ticking off tasks that you have completed, and you can include both school and personal tasks. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few methods that you can use. These are not exhaustive. You can find your own methods out there, but in terms of trying to prioritize your time, because at times your to-do list will be quite long. So you've got to make decisions on what you're going to do that is both urgent and required soon. So for example, here is what we call the Eisenhower matrix. So what you do is you can see on the y-axis an importance, on the x-axis is urgency. So for example, it says do today where it's important and it's urgent. So it's you definitely want to put it on your task list today. Whereas things that are less urgent and important, you don't necessarily have to do them on that day. The other method is the 1, 2, 3 method. So obviously you start on number 1, you finish it, tick it off, and you then move on to number 2 and so on. ABC method is quite a good one as well. So A is a task you must do that day, B is a task you should do that day, and C is a task you could do that day, so it's less important than A. You also need to estimate the time it may take you to complete tasks as well. So obviously in your 3 A levels and possibly an EPQ as well, you're going to have to really think about how you organize yourself. Otherwise you're going to get in a heap of trouble. Many students have what we call a day folder for each subject. So that contains current notes and assessment work. And then what you can do is you can keep what we call a decant folder at home for each topic. You use file dividers, and that contains revision material, and I would also print off the exam specification as well. The reason for doing that is that you're not taking massive bulky sets of notes folders around with you during your day. So having a day folder just makes it easier. That day folder could include a notebook, it could include a file, it could include loose paper. And being in the sixth form, from time to time, you will be asked to show your notes, to check your folders are organized as we would expect. And we will give you guidance on what is expected. So teachers will want to check them as well from time to time. Here is a few examples. Okay, so a few examples of things you could use. So some students use writing pads or loose paper. They use file organizers, plastic pockets, travel folders, and larger folders called decant folders. Also, you might think about the kind of stationery you're going to need. The usual is pens, pencils, but you might want to include things like file cards for revision cards. You might want to use highlighters, which we've spoken about before in terms of note taking. So you need to have a good selection of stationery with you. Remember to label and organize your folders as well. So a few ideas: obviously label the folders on the outside. Definitely use dividers to divide up topics or units of work. Remember, you're going to have 2 teachers per subject on the whole. So remember, you're going to have to make sure you take the correct folders, day folders with you related to your timetable. You could make an index, so when it's full or when it's filling up, make an index in the front of each folder so you know what's in it. You could write page numbers on your notes. You need to put loose sheets in punched plastic pockets and try to keep labels up to date. Okay, so when you join us in sixth form, you will be able to access the school Wi-Fi. So if you have your own laptop, smartphone, or any other type of device, maybe a tablet, you can use those at the sixth form. So you might want to get yourself organized digitally. These are some ideas. So you could create a folder per subject. Inside it, you could have the spec to create folders per topic. You could have a folder for past papers, for example. But the key thing is using the specification to find out how many papers there are for each subject. And you can get those off the exam board website, and also your teachers will tell you where you can go. But it's quite useful to do that in terms of keeping yourself organized with your files. So let's talk about organizing yourself at home. So at home, it depends what kind of learner you are. Some prefer structured, some prefer unstructured, or a mix of both. So what I mean by structured workspace is a desk, a chair, it's orderly. You've got all the resources around you that you require. Unstructured is a kitchen table, easy chair, everything is out. It's really up to you what works best for you. One of the key things though, and I think it needs to be said, is that you need to limit distraction. So if you're really concentrating on something, maybe turn off your alerts on your mobile phone, maybe switch off other kind of tabs that are on the internet. Maybe tell people in your home that you're trying to concentrate as well. And try to limit those distractions when you are concentrating. In the sixth form, we have various places for you to work. We have computer desks. We also have separate desks and chairs. Just to remind you, the upstairs is a silent study area. So it's a bit like a library or a university workspace. And we'd expect you to work there quietly and silently. And if you want to do group work, we do have some rooms you can book out, or you can go downstairs into the cafe to talk about your work with other students. Some key tips here, and I could learn from this, as I'm sure many of you could too. So it's really important that you try to tidy up between tasks. You need to clear your filing system, so you need to make sure they're kept up to date. You need to avoid dumping grounds, as these pictures show. Maybe I need to clean up my office, who knows. Anyway, so we need to keep things in one place, and it's very good to have regular tidy ups. Okay, so I've got a little task for you here, and it's about gathering equipment. So as it says here, on a sheet of paper, simply copy out the checklist areas, so daily folder, subject folder, file dividers, pens, and write out if you have got it, you need it, or it's not needed. And this is the second list. Now, obviously, some of these things you won't be getting until September. So, for example, your textbooks. Your teachers as well will be giving you advice on what they expect you to have. Okay, so have a look through this list and please pause the video. I hope that hasn't daunted you too much, but as I said to you, starting sixth form can be quite daunting. Okay, remember the sixth form team who you met on orientation day, and your subject staff are really there to help, and your tutors are there to help. It's a big change from GCSE. There's going to be a lot more independent learning expected, but there's always someone there to support you if you need it, particularly if you know you're not a very organised person. You might need some extra support. As always, I'd like you to keep your work together, please. So in the folder that you might have set up from my first video, keep the notes together, ready for your start in year 12. I hope you found that useful, and please do email me if you've got any queries or questions, and thanks for listening.